What's going on YouTube? This is Rybo back at the bench, and today I've got another cut or carry watch review. Today looking at the Mr. Jones Watches Number Cruncher. So I have reviewed recently the Seamaster and the 36mm Seamaster, and I have reviewed recently the 36mm Datejust. So obviously the next choice was this Number Cruncher. So if you were not familiar with Mr. Jones watches, they are based in London and they make watches like this. So these are automatic movements, as you can see in the belly right there. The watch is slowly turning, not ticking, but these are all automatic movements, and they are, I believe, all in collaboration with some artist. So this one, for example, and I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce these things, this one comes with this nice brochure that is way too big for my camera. And this is the Number Cruncher, and it is designed by this man right here. If you open this up, you'll see some details about the automatic movement here, about the artist, and then some words from the artist about this design. So this is how Mr. Jones watches works typically. All of their watches are known to be really not traditional like this. So none of them are going to have your normal kind of 12, 1, 2, 3, 4 watch dials. And in a sense, they're, I think, kind of a nice hybrid between something that would, be found on Amazon as kind of a fashion kids type watch, your cheap kind of gimmicky quartz watch, and something that is just kind of fun and unique in the watch world because it is built on a nice movement, and it does retail at a higher price, and it is done in collaboration with actual artists. I think it's pretty cool. So this is a watch that I've actually had my eye on for probably, 4 or 5 years. This is one that I have looked at many times. I've told myself, you have no business buying that watch. You're not gonna wear it. You don't need it. It's ridiculous. And yet here we are. They usually do these in different batches or runs. So sometimes you'll go on the website and the watch will be out of stock. And so you just wait and they'll do another run. That's how I got this one. I sat on it for a little while and finally they were back in stock. So I jumped on it. I ordered this directly from Mr. Jones, and they got it to me within a couple days, even though I'm in the US and they are in the UK. So I was really impressed with that. Overall, great experience. I think this was around $300. And so overall, very happy, great order process. But why would I want this watch? So oftentimes I will reference the fact that I, run a side business and I'm packaging up stuff all the time and cutting boxes and stuff. That is a business I own based on my artwork. So I primarily and foremost, going way back, am an artist and love to create different designs and drawings and make different products on them. And so I sell stuff based on my artwork. And that's something that I've done for a long time, and I was a graffiti artist at one point, and I love art like this. Like, I've just always been drawn to kind of cartoony stuff like this, big, bold colors, that kind of thing. And so I thought this was a really cool watch. I know it seems ridiculous, but I think this is one of their better selling models. And I just thought it was super cool. So if you have not figured it out by now, the way that you tell the time is the number crunching monster up here is eating the hour marker right here. And so this is 2 o'clock. And then the minutes are slowly revolving back here. So you can see the contents of his stomach are churning on the inside. Hopefully you can see that. And then there is a track on top of that that is slowly turning the minutes. So it is about 2:17, I believe. I think it's done by what is in the middle of his stomach. So it's in 5 number increments, so 15, 20. So I think it's about 2:17, 2:18. So that is how you read the time. It is not easy. If you're in a dark room, you are out of luck because there's no backlight, but you can tell the time, and it's all based on an automatic movement. Okay, I don't know that there's really a reason to do a size comparison. I do happen to, as I always do, have a little SKX over here, 011. And so yeah, you can see it's not the same size as a 011, but the bigger thing I want to highlight is just how thick the case is. So while it is more of kind of a dress watch, field watch size, the case is pretty barrely and it is pretty thick. So I'll talk about that in just a little bit. Okay, so let's just do things that I like and dislike about this watch. So it talks a little bit about why it appealed to me. I do want to show it on wrist really quick just to show how it wears. So let's talk about things I like. So first of all, things I like, I think it's a great size. Now, I think it's way too thick, but in terms of the size of the dial and whatnot, I think it's a great size. A lot of times companies like this or watches like this are going to err on the side of being too large, and especially with a watch like this, which is all loud and in your face, you definitely do not want this. And so I do like that it wears pretty small. Crown is really small and out of the way, and so that's really, really nice. Other things that I like about this watch, I like the fact that Mr. Jones is building these on automatic movements. Now, the movement is not specified. There are no specs given, and so you can make your own, draw your own conclusions about the quality of those automatic movements. But for me, this is not a watch that's going to get a ton of wrist time, even if it stays in the collection. And so it's not a huge concern to me. And I think price point is probably about right. But I like that. I like that they're doing it on automatic movements, and it gives it a little bit more credibility in the watch world. Secondly, I love the design. I think it's such a cool idea. My kids love it. I think it's super cool. This is the perfect watch to just bring out once in a while. It's just quirky and cool, and I just feel like a kid again when I wear this thing. So I really, really like that. It's a very creative way to show the date and the time, and the stomach churning behind that is it's just neat. So that is certainly something I really like. I should have mentioned before that this is obviously not the bracelet that it comes on. This is an Uncle Straps straight in beads of rice. It comes on this mesh bracelet here, and you can see how it fits in the case. And so things I like the mesh option, but I'll talk a little bit about the strap options in a minute, but I do think it looks pretty good on the mesh. Other things I like, I think that's about it. It's just a cool watch. It's funky and it's cool, and there's not much to it besides that. Things I dislike, there are a few things. So first of all, strap options. These lugs are terrible. They are so non-standard. They flare out a ton. They're really skinny, but they have these bumps at the end where the spring bar seats. They're really long, so you have a huge gap there if you wear it on a straight end. I don't think it would look right on a NATO, although it can wear on a NATO. I don't think it would look right. I think it would look okay on a leather strap, but they're really, really long, and it just is weird. Because of that, you're really not going to have any aftermarket bracelet options except for a straight end, which is fine, but it's just not the look that most guys want. So that kind of stinks, and I'm not a fan of that. Secondly, the major issue with this watch is the fact that there's no protection on this crystal. And the design is really, I believe, integrated into that crystal. So if the crystal smashes, you are out a watch. If the crystal smashes on my SKX here, I can replace the crystal and get 10 more years of life from this watch. But if the crystal breaks on this, the whole watch is built on that, and I really can't use it and wouldn't want to. You're not going to find an aftermarket crystal that works. That stinks. If I'm wrong about that, comment and tell me below. But looking at it, I'm pretty scared to watch this for fear that to wear this watch for fear that I'm going to scratch the crystal and mess up the design. And that's just not a great thing for a guy like me who tends to wear his stuff and use my gear. So that kind of stinks. Overall, though, super fun watch. It's really fun. For me, it's a cut. When I got it, there were just a couple things about the case, the lugs, the crystal that just didn't sit well with me. I think it's super cool. I think it's really fun. If I don't know, I'm tempted to just keep it, but I haven't been wearing it. I think it's super fun. I probably will buy it back at some point. Really glad I got to try it out after looking at it for so long. So comment below, am I totally ridiculous for trying out this watch, or do you think it's kind of cool? Till next time, see ya.